Greetings, adventurers. Do you seek news about the gaming world? Then you have come to the right place. Sit down and relax because your host Dvalin will update you on everything you need from the gaming world with his companion Alumio. Give them both a big welcome and welcome to Gaming Landscape Podcast. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode. This is podcast number 3 of Gaming Landscape Podcast. And as always, as usually, we have my co-host with me, Alumio.
Hello there. Glad to be here once again. And let's see what new things you bring to me.
Of course, today I have some delicious hot topics with me. We both have some spicy stuff with us and we both have some more chillax stuff. So are you ready to go directly into it?
Yep, let's go.
Super. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Sword of Legends Online. Because the alpha actually has been going on for the last 2 weeks, but the developers, I think they kind of forgot, the content creators they have accepted, so I only first got access like yesterday. So I had to I could basically test the game for 1 day before they closed the alpha. And that means when the alpha closes today, we will then in 2 weeks get the closed beta, which you will probably get access to and so on. I will also get a bunch of keys that I can give out, so we could probably maybe do some giveaway on the next podcast with some keys and so on. But overall, I remember we talked about this game last time, and you pretty much said that this game is not something you're going to touch, right?
Yep. Yeah, well, that was the consensus I had back then. It was not something that would appeal to me.
No, exactly. And I have to admit that after trying the alpha, I cannot talk about the details about the game because I signed a very big NDA, so I'm not allowed to say any details, but I have to admit that the alpha blowed my mind, and I am actually pretty impressed with the game and will 100% probably gonna play it on release. And I can't wait to get you in also because, I mean, I'm still gonna throw it as a closed beta key at you and make you test it.
Okay, well, yeah. If there's nothing on my plate at the time it comes out, I'll more than likely give it a shot, yeah? Give it a try and see how that comes out.
Super. Because everyone who's listening right now, Sword of Legends Online is a game which has been in alpha now, and in 2 weeks it's going to be in closed beta, which a lot of you is going to be invited to. And you're going to see more content from there on, but at the moment it's very limited because of the NDA. But it is a MMORPG coming out. It's a theme park, Asian universe, and I think you all will be excited. So I just kind of wanted to land it here saying that I've been playing the alpha. I can't share details, but I'm sure you all is gonna like it in some way. So let's get to the next topic, because this was more like a little message to you all. So Lumio, we're gonna talk a bit about Corepunk now.
Okay, my favorite topic, all right?
Exactly. And so for the last podcast we actually did we know the release date of the closed beta when we did the last episode?
I believe not, because I think we did it on a Thursday.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like 99% sure that we didn't know the release date.
No, we didn't. The video came out on the day after, on the Friday. That's when they announced the precise date of the CBT. And on the Sunday, on the live dev talk, they gave us the length of the CBT, so like the duration of it. But yeah, at the time of the recording of the last episode, we didn't know any of this that we currently do.
Okay, that's great because I added it on the topic because I was like 90% sure that we didn't know it. But okay, so for everyone who's listening, on the 25th August, closed beta for Corepunk will be out. Boom.
Exactly. 25th of August till the 28th. So it's like a 4-day closed beta, probably a 3-day in terms of hours, because they're more than likely going to open up the CBT in like middle of the 25th and then close it in middle of the 28th. Maybe we get lucky and we get like a full 4 days. We'll see. But the big thing is that no NDA with it.
Exactly. So content creators like me, we're gonna love this. That means we have 3 days to really play the game, the hell out of it, and really save as much content as possible, because no one knows when the game is going to be playable again. So these 3 days can be really important for content creators out there. And so on 25th August, you will probably have a chance to play. Maybe, who knows, maybe we get some additional keys that we can give out, something like that. But it's, as Illumi said, it's going to be over 3 days. And it's probably, like the developers already have told us, it's probably going to be half of the game that we can play. So we can probably play up to level 20 and enjoy, half of the game. Do you still agree with that point?
Yeah, they gave us the limit, like way back last year, when the CBT was still planned for December 2020. In the announcement post of that CBT time frame, they said that the beta would have the 6 heroes out of the 12, like 6 classes basically out of the 12 total, and it would be capped to level 20. Since then, we pretty much found out that they pushed back the second set of 6 heroes. So like they pushed it back to after release, since they were unable to spend time on them, to finish them in time. So that's what we're probably going to have until like across all the betas until release. But they never did mention again the level cap, which was 20 at the time they originally talked about it. They never brought it up ever again. So my assumption is that it probably still stands. Like we're probably only going to be able to play till level 20, because I don't see the delays that they had to do to get the game ready for the beta. I don't think they would make a point of letting you experience more if it wasn't even ready before. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. And also the point that they had to push 6 of the heroes to actually after the game instead of like at final release of the game. And for all the new listeners out there who haven't been listening to the 2 other episodes, Corepunk is a new MMORPG in a isometric view, which is going to have 12 classes, 6 at release. It's going to have dungeons, battlegrounds, so on. It's probably, if you take Dota 2 and combine it with World of Warcraft, then it's pretty much what we're going to get, in my opinion. And it's an amazing game. You have to look it up, corepunk.com. You can go and watch that. But yeah, you want to shout out the last thing?
Yeah, I do. To add on to that, I do think it has a pretty big potential to be. It probably won't blow up and be the next big thing. That sort of expectancy needs to be a little bit controlled. But the actual fact of potentially being something quite fresh and unique in terms of the systems it has, the systems that it combines together, that uniqueness is probably going to be something very fresh and interesting that we just don't have on the market yet.
Oh yeah. I definitely think this game could actually be like the start of a new era. I think this game, if this game gets success, I think this game can be the reason for other companies starts making MMOs with an asymmetric view. I know we have Elyon Online today, but Elyon Online isn't really like a huge success. I know they have 140k monthly players, but that still isn't, like in the class of Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. So I still think it's going to be like in a different, but I think this game could basically start the revolution of isometric MMORPGs.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to dive deeper into it, or I think we have other topics, different games.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you do want to go deeper into Corepunk, then I'm all up for it.
No,
And you know that.
we're gonna save that for a Corepunk exclusive episode.
Sounds good.
Good. Let's jump to another topic. Good. So now we're gonna talk about another MMORPG. Yeah. Today it's gonna be a lot about MMORPGs, and today we're gonna talk also about Elyon, which is a closed. Well, the game just released in closed beta, and it's gonna close again on the 11th, so like in 2 days. And I was so lucky to actually receive a key for this game. I know a lot of people, they really wanted to try it out, but I contacted one of the community managers and told who I am as a content creator, and I was so lucky to get a key.
Okay. Spreading the clout, creating connections, networking.
Exactly. I mean, that's an important part of a community manager. Community manager of content creators. You can't just like sit back and wait for people to give you keys. You have to be the active person because you want their products.
Exactly.
But I have tested this game for 3 days now, and it's like I feel like I'm playing a version of Black Desert Online, but it has the theme park elements in it, which I really like. The problem with Black Desert Online is it doesn't have an end game that is appealing for me, but this game has almost the same combat, like, okay, almost. I know a lot of Black Desert Online fans are going to kill me for this, but it has almost the same combat, but then it also has dungeons, arenas, raids, and so on. But I just want to hear you, Elumi, about a thing, because this game is a bit weird with leveling, because the first, if I understand it correctly, the first 40 to 48 level is like a soft cap level. So that means when you like almost finish the tutorial, you get to level 25. And then when you like do a couple of dungeons and questing and so on, then you level 40. And then I think it's from 48 to 50, then that becomes a real grind. So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Sorry. It's just like, sorry for interrupting. It's like, that's just like hearing you describe that system. It does give like a weird sense of how I'm trying to find a way to describe this that it just doesn't come out naturally. But I guess for the lack of a better wording, I would say like that it makes it feel like the levels are meaningless. Do you forget what I mean? Like they are there just for the excuse of them being able to say they have levels.
Yeah.
Because if you finish a tutorial and you're level 25 by then, there's something that feels off there. Is a tutorial is an introduction to something. They teach you how to do something, etc., etc. If the total level is 50, like the maximum level of your character is 50, from what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
You finishing a tutorial, so a section that is devised to introduce you to the game and to its systems and all of that, you should not be halfway to the max level. Like you shouldn't come out at level 25.
No.
And sorry, and if you say that even after that, until level 48 is just like speed leveling through, that's basically just a glorified, not even glorified, it's just a pointless mechanic, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the levels in this game just as a gate, like when you get to level 30, you can do your first dungeon. When you get to level 35, you can do your first battleground and arena. When you get to level 36, you can get your first multiple people dungeon, like 3 people dungeon instead of solo dungeons. It feels like the level doesn't have a meaning in this game. It's basically just like a gate for when they feel now you're ready to try do this. Like a way for like instead of booting up the game and then they say welcome to the game, you can do all this at once. They kind of want to spread it out on levels for some way.
Yeah, like so they're using the level as the gating system, which is usually one of the functions of a leveling system to gate you through content. But if, like you said, they're doing it on such a fast rate where you just level up to 48 like pretty quickly, and then you get into that grind, into that grind of the last 2 levels, where the amount of experience needed and the grind levels that you require to be able to get that one single level is just going from one extreme to the other. And even if you're using it this to just gate content, like the level 0 to level 1 to 48 is just to gate you through different contents, what's the point of this massive grind at the end? It just feels off. I can't even put my reasoning into words properly.
No.
But it just feels like a bad system.
Yeah, and it's not only that's not the only thing about the game which is a bit weird, because in most MMOs when you level up, for example, okay, so it took me 3 hours to get to level 31, something like that, and the leveling experience is like from level 25 to 30 for me was all the same. Like, I just got 8 different quests, and all the quests was always about, go to this big group of monsters, kill 8 of them. Go to this big group of monsters, kill 8 of them. Go to this group. That was just basically, I think that's basically the game from the start till end, that you just run around open world, have to find a group of monsters that has a green arrow on top of the head because that's your quest, and then you have to kill them all. And then I know they have the campaign which you can follow, but there's a pretty big space between the campaign. You can get like 2 campaign missions, then it says, oh no, you're 3 levels too low now, go out and kill some monsters. Then 3 levels again, and then you can do campaign. You get what I mean, right? So it's like they have a big campaign, but when you're not doing your campaign because of level caps, you just have to like run around and kill big groups of random monsters because the quest tells you to do that. That's the leveling experience in my world.
It feels like it's just filling, like just padding. If you know what I mean. They have this, just for rough example, just like to have a number example on it. They have this 10-hour campaign on it in their game, and instead of figuring out a way to improve this or work more on it, to add more pieces to the story or more pieces, different unique quests related to dungeons or whatever, that they just shove filler into the different sections to basically artificially make you spend a bunch more time in between main quests, just doing repetitive things that are always the same, repetitive activities. And in my opinion, a good MMO you should be able to go from main quest to main quest, and proceed through that naturally, even if you want to let people rush through a leveling experience, basically allow them to go through the leveling as quick as they can, then let them go through main quest, in my opinion, and achieve the end game as they want, and then experience the game how they see fit through the end game. And then for the other people that do not want to rush through the game, that they want to take your time and enjoy the view, explore, etc., then allow them and give them side quests or other activities or maybe hidden things, whatever, like something that lets them experience the world and see different things and fight different mobs or whatever that the people that are rushing through the main quests would not get to see because they just want to rush through. So it's a good middle ground, in my opinion, to have. But those paddings for the side quests and such should have some interest to them, like not just go here, kill 8, go here, kill 8, go here, kill 8, over and over and over and over and over. And yeah, it's normal. Of course, like this type of quest will be used a lot, just because it's just the nature of MMOs to have this type of quest or fetching quests or whatever. But to at least attempt to add some diversity to it or make it more interesting mechanically, instead of literally you get there to those 8 mobs and they're just trash mobs and you have no issues killing them, and it's just there because you have to do stuff.
Yeah, because when I see when I play World of Warcraft, one of the most funny thing in the game is leveling, and when I play Final Fantasy, one of the most funny things to do is leveling, and when I play Elder Scrolls Online, one of the most funny things to do is leveling, and when I play Elyon, one of the worst things to do is leveling. So you see the pattern here, right? All the top 3 MMOs in the world, they are funny leveling, but Elyon leveling was not fun to me. That felt like a grind from day one. Though I have to admit, the end game of Elyon with the dungeons, the arena, the battlegrounds, the massive battleground they have with like a big war with NPCs, like in AIs running around, tons of players around, all that is pretty cool. So I have to admit, Elyon knows how to make end game, but from getting from level 1 to 50 is sparsome.
It's from what you're telling me, or from what I'm building of my understanding in my head, from what you're providing, it basically feels like it's a game built for its end game perp only. It's you're meant to just rush through and not really give a crap about the leveling process.
Exactly.
And just do that. Which, in all honesty, they probably should have just, if they wanted that to be the central part of their game, like they seem to do, just make it so that the whole campaign or whatever is just a tutorial. Like you come out of that tutorial and you're at the pretty much soft cap for that level 48, whatever it is, and just allow people to then experience the actual mechanics that you deem central, like the developers deem central to the game. If you want to have a leveling experience, you should spend some time on it, it not disregard it, because right now, from the understanding that I've built from what you've told me, it feels like that leveling process that the game has in place is just there for the sake of being there, so that they can say we have a leveling process with a story or whatever, and it actually has very little work done on it, and it more often than not, it will just push people away more than it will make people want to play the game.
Yeah. And of course it's unfair for me also to judge it, because I leveled to level 31, I got a pretty good feeling of the game, so I of course don't know how the 32 to 50 experience is, but I can't imagine it's going to be a bit different. I mean, big difference. Of course you're going to unlock more dungeons and battlegrounds so you can do them leveling wise, but the dungeon I did gave like 5 to 10% experience of the level, where normal quests killing enemies gave like 20 to 30, so I didn't see any reason to do that. But yeah, that was just like my little feeling of how I felt Elyon was going. So the next topic we're going to talk about is going to be a very spicy one, because a lot of people, they have really been waiting for the Burning Crusade Classic. And finally, we have got the release date of it. I could just put it directly on the table here. It's going to be on the 1st June for you in the UK. And for me in Denmark, it's going to be on the 2nd June, because it's going to go, it's when it's 11 for you, it's 12 at me, and then it's going to be the 2nd June. So if you are sitting in Europe on the, you can say on the Scandinavian side or German side and so on, it's going to be the 2nd for you. If you're on the UK side and, over there, it's going to be the 1st for you at 11 o'clock. But now we know when we can play the Burning Crusade Classic. Now we're going to talk about why everyone is talking about it right now on the wide internet. Because Blizzard, they started saying these classic expansions or classic games wouldn't contain any, you can say, purchases or in-game shops and stuff like that. But out of the blue, from nowhere, from of course Activision Blizzard as we know them, they like money, and then of course they need some kind of money for their games, and everyone was expecting that the subscription you had to pay, the $10 every month, was enough. It wasn't. Because when you first time boot up Burning Crusade Classic, you're gonna pick between, do you want your character from the normal Classic game to be on the Burning Crusade server, or do you want it to stay on the normal server? And that's okay. I mean, that's totally cool of them asking you where you want to be. But here's the trick. If you want your character to be on both servers, you have to pay a fee. And if we know Blizzard, it's probably going to be between $20 or $30 for having a character on both servers. So Illumio, what do you think that's a fair point, that they want money if you want to have your character on both servers when, it's kind of the same concept? Or do you feel like it's a bit of a trap?
I mean, like, this is a tricky subject because it's all dependent on how they do things. From my understanding, from what my housemate told me, and it's pretty much, and my housemate being a very, very fanatic for WoW, like played it in childhood, etc., etc. So he plays it a lot, and that's pretty much the only thing I know from my other MMOs, because he tells me. From my understanding, these are it's not a progression from classic to TBC, but two actual servers.
Yeah.
So it's like two different things. It's not classic is not going to stop existing, and then it's only TBC now. So from that understanding that I have, I can see the logic of you needing to pay if you want to keep both characters. So if you want to progress this character to this server and you want to keep this one and you want to keep it as well, a copy of it on the current server, they could it could just be a matter of they move this character over and that's it. So it's like extremely easy to just do one or the other. Because if you choose to stay, then they don't have to do anything. If you choose to move to the new server, then they just move the character data along to the other server. But if you want to actually have to copy this character and everything how it is to have it in two different servers, it could be like system wise. Yeah, it could be. It's just a straight up copy of an element of a character to different servers, but it could be a lot more extra work on the back end, like on the behind the scenes things, just basically because your character has a bunch of different things connected to it, like your account. You might be even copying accounts. I don't know how they do it. I have no idea how they do it, but there could be a lot of work on the back of it that makes them want to charge for it, if you get what I mean. But of course, this could all be it can be this that I'm describing, or it could literally just be it's extremely easy work, but they want to just get money off of you. So I don't really know. It's very like in the middle for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen behind the scenes something that your characters in World of Warcraft is basically just a string in a standard SQL database. So moving from one server to another server was like a pretty small job. But yeah, I just feel like they could at least have just, like said to everyone, hey, we're gonna copy your character to both servers so you don't have to pick here both of your characters. Now this is Blizzard. We love our community. But instead they did the opposite, saying you have to pick, and if you want both, we want $30. It's not set the price yet, but you know what I mean. It's like they're thinking of money before the players, I feel like, in this situation.
Yeah, it's but I suppose in one way it could, because people are not buying the expansion technically, because if they don't want to spend money, from my understanding, you don't need to spend anything, right?
You still need a monthly subscription every month.
Yeah, you need a subscription, but it's not like before where you'd actually have to buy the expansion.
No.
Play it. So it's like you're still paying the subscription. So it's like the same thing if you just move to TBC, or if you stay in Classic, you're still paying the subscription. So if you just do the natural progression into TBC, you basically, there's nothing affecting you. Like there's no financial hit on you. So on that end, I think it's okay that they might want to try and like get some money off of you, but the actual values that probably make this tactic a bit worse, because it was like what, 20 to something, 30 to copy a character, and that's a little too much, because you're copying a character. It's not worth that much money.
No, and maybe after all this shitstorm, they might reduce the price to like $5 or $10, and then of course it's something else. But also we have to look at it with people who've been playing Classic is like for 1 year now, and they have probably been using now $110 for playing the whole Classic experience. So I just feel like those players, of course, they have already paid. But okay, that's only one of the topics, because I still have more in this Burning Crusade. We have more shitstorm.
Okay.
So they have also now made a dark portal pass. I think that's what they described it as. And the dark portal pass is a way for new players to experience the Burning Crusade right from the moment. So you can buy this dark portal pass, which will give you a level 58 character, so you can boost pretty much up your character ASAP, boost him up, make him ready for the game, and you get a lot of cool equipment that makes your character ready for it, mount, some gold, and so on. So basically, when the Burning Crusade is coming out, if new players come and say, hey, I want to play this, but I didn't play Classic, so that basically means that Classic players, they don't have to level, if you want to play the Burning Crusade on the 1st June, you don't have to go into the game now and invest 30 days to get to maximum level. You can basically just buy the Dark Portal Pass, and then you can start from the Burning Crusade expansion ASAP. And this makes some controversy, because some people, they say, why do we need this? Because basically, we just want to play the Burning Crusade. That means we just want it free. Every time you create a new character, you start from level 58, because it's basically just that expansion we want to play. We don't want to play the previous expansion because we play the Burning Crusade. And some people, they get angry because, it's money thing. And, Blizzard, I think they promised a bit ago that they won't be boost and stuff like that in Classic. They just want it to be like Classic. But now we begin to see stuff like this. And it upsets people, and I think Asmongold already made a video. And if you know World of Warcraft, you know who Asmongold is, and he already did a video about this, saying Burning Crusade is dead. I mean, it's pretty harsh thing to say, but you know. But what is your opinion about that?
Character leveling boosts. I tend to see both sides of it. So if you're like if you're coming into the game and you don't have much time to play, and that's perfectly fine if you want to pay for it to like be able to access the end game content, as the leveling process does take its time. Like it takes time. If it's just the leveling boosts, then that's all right. But the issue comes when you save something and you say you're not going to have these things, or we're going to keep it like to its roots of how it was. And then on the money side of things, financial side of things, of what you sell, you go back on your words and you basically start selling a bunch of these things, which, from my understanding, were not going to like be a thing, or like weren't advertised as a thing. I don't know if Classic had level boosts.
No.
Okay, so it's basically, Classic worked out so well, we're going into TBC, how can we get money off of this? And it's basically, in my opinion, it's tactics from retail, like leaking into it now. So basically, it's not the same philosophy that that you had in Classic when they introduced WoW Classic. It's part of it, but starting to get mixed with their practices that they do in retail, if you get what I mean. So it's starting to get a shift into that, and I can see why a lot of people are angry against it, because, well, that supposedly wasn't the purpose of it. But I can also understand them somehow trying to find ways to get money to monetize the game besides a subscription, since, well, you're not needing to have to buy the actual expansion itself. Like we talked about before, you could just progress to TBC and be done with that. Now the actual parts of the point of discussion, one of the ones you mentioned, of you having TBC and you just starting at the whatever level it was for that expansion, which is like 50 something or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that one, because, well, yes, you experienced just that expansion, but you should still be able to like allow people to start from the beginning, like level a character from the beginning, not really like start at a max level. That isn't really how MMOs work, even if this is a recreation or of how it used to be. I don't agree that you should just start at that level.
Yeah,
because there's still a lot of it. There's still like a lot of content you need to go through to level up, and all that. It's still part of the game, like a great part of the game.
yeah, because I mean, when Burning Crusade actually released back in, I don't know, 2007, I can't remember the year, but I mean, if you bought the game there, you also had to do the full leveling experience. So I guess that's also staying, close to nature. But I guess people are just upset because they are seeing all these things you can use money on. Even, I mean, see, I'm coming to the third topic. Not third topic, but third point in this, because you can buy the deluxe edition of this Dark Portal Pass, which basically gives you some kind of amount that hasn't been in the game. It's like a new amount they have created only for this pass. It gives you some cosmetic items, like, when you walk around, you have like Felfire on your feet, and you get, stuff like that. And that's, again, another thing that really upsets people, because Burning Crusade didn't have like cosmetics you could buy for money, but now they do.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
I mean, just to give my opinion on it, I'm like, I'm on the side where I'm like, I don't give a peep about anything of this. I'm like, I don't care about we can use money on cosmetics. For me, it's just still the same game, and I'm not angry at all. But I just see all these hardcore WoW fans getting so mad, and I don't understand it.
I think it comes with an issue of it has changed. Like MMO communities have changed over the years. Like the player social dynamics are not what they used to be back then. Like and it's not really going to change. Going back to how it used to be. It's just not. It's a reality. It's not going to be like that. Like games have taken a shift towards the more solo approach and all of that. And it's the actual players that like changed that aspect, not just the games themselves. And so with that being one of the shifts already, like the actual act of selling something or like having some changes from how it used to be, it's impossible to fully recreate, in my opinion, of course. It's impossible to fully recreate how it used to be back then in a guaranteed one for one measure because well the game has been gamed by now. Like everyone knows everything about the game. Like they did it for Classic, they're gonna do it for TBC as well. Like it's known information. It's not going to be the same experience. It's not. It's just not going to be the same thing. And I think with that comes the fact of that nostalgia is gets a bit in the way of what people think of the game. So it's like if they try to find a way to monetize it, in this case being the cosmetics, because it all comes into to me, it all comes back to they're not making you pay for the expansion like they did back then. Like you don't have to buy the expansion. That's not like that big influx of money of people buying the expansion is not going to be there.
Hmm.
Like you don't need to. So they trying to make money in some other way. In this case, being the cosmetic shops, which I'm fine with. I understand that I understand the argument for some people that cosmetic progression in a game in an MMO is like something that should not be like touched, and they say that cosmetics in the shop are like pay to win or whatever in terms of cosmetic progression because of the cosmetics in the shop are have more time spent into them. They have unique models compared to the like reskins that you'd get by playing the game, etc., etc. But if you have a nice balance of top end stuff being uh, at least the same like level of quality as store things, then I think that's all right. And like everything, it's fine. Cosmetic store is fine because it's a a way of monetizing the game
Hmm.
that isn't as detrimental on the actual gameplay. Yes, it is like a play on the social aspect of it of the game, but in my opinion, the actual gameplay of it plays a better, a more important part than the uh, social like dynamic of the MMO
Yeah.
in terms of progression. So, 'cause at the end of the day, if something is broken, you play it, or if something is frustrating to play, etc., etc., that is more impactful and causes more issues to the
Hmm.
game than if this guy is running around with a mount that's super cool and like everyone is running around in cool mounts and cool outfits, etc. Like yes, it's still a bad thing that like everyone is super diverse and there's like no sense of uniqueness.
Hmm.
Like that sense of uniqueness is lost a bit, but that is, in my opinion, that is nowhere near as impactful as like a bad game mechanically speaking, or like broken or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, opinions.
For sure, for sure.
But then we have it out, and all the listeners, you have heard it. You have seen what people are talking about World of Warcraft. But yeah, time to move on. So, this evening's last topic, we're gonna talk about a new game which has been revealed. So, last episode we talked about Stunlock Studios, the makers of Battlerite, and they are going to, well, last time we actually talked about they were going to reveal a new game, and by now we have finally got revealed the new game, which is called V Space Rising. It's not called V Space Rising, but V Rising. So basically V Rising, and this game is a vampire themed game, and that's probably why it's called V Rising, because it's Vampire Rising, but that's a pretty long name, so they're just gonna go with V Rising. So this game, and it's very important to note that the games they have always been developed, Stunlock Studios, is isometric top view games, and it's WASD movement, and it's pretty like plays like a MOBA but with WASD. But this new V Rising game is basically an open world game with VSD movement, skill shots, and all that. But you're gonna play a vampire which has been risen, and you're gonna build your own castle, build your own place, explore the open world, and get materials to craft to build an even stronger castle. You can ally with other people. You can fight with other people. So basically how I see this game in some way is like those mobile games where you like build a castle and then you like expand it and so on. But still not in that way, because you still have your character which you play as an isometric view game. You still have skills, levels, and so on. So it's basically like, I also some kind of see it, and Steam is also categorizing it as an MMO. So I actually see it as a bit like an MMO where you play a isometric view as a vampire. You get skills. You can either run around with a big two-handed sword, dual blade. You can get like elemental spells. You can be your own little. I mean, I see it a bit like a Elyon Online, where you can basically like level up in a different ways with your vampire. You can be like an elemental vampire, a two-handed vampire, whatever you want. But this is a new thing, because we have not seen for a long time a game where you have to build a castle and at the same time you play this MOBA combat game. And from the screenshots, it looks pretty dark and fun, but fantastic graphics. The cities looks amazing with the lightning and all that. But at the moment, we haven't seen combat or gameplay. We have only seen screenshots so far. But from the first view from this game, V Rising, it looks amazing. So Illumio, from what I just told, is this a game you could just like imagine yourself trying out, or are you already like closing right now, like leaving the chat and closing the door?
I think it has potential. Like, to be honest, it has nice potential to it. And I did have an initial look at it when like after we mentioned it on the last podcast. I think it was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had an initial look at it once they actually came out with it. And I think it's an open world survival MMO or something like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. It's a survival game.
So it's like the survival aspect does make me a bit more iffy. And by this, I don't know if they mean actually, because they haven't fully explained the game. No. I don't know if they mean actual, like, you gotta eat, you gotta drink, that type of survival, etc., or they just mean a more sandbox style, like MMO, like Albion or such. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That direction in the survival side, which doesn't really have to eat or anything like that, but you're just grinding away materials and doing all those interactions. With that said, there still is some, like you mentioned, there's like some confusion about how it actually plays out of in server wise, because it has like an MMO tag and it has all those things. I know from their FAQ on the Discord, it says that if you want to play solo, you would be able to play solo on a server or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So I think that makes me think that the game's gonna be in the style of like Rust and such, where you
Mm.
have you have servers. So a server could hold up to like 100 people or whatever. Um, and it would work based off of that. So you probably would have some dedicated servers, or you'd have some private servers, etc. And if I'm not wrong, I think Rust also has the MMO tag on Steam.
Okay.
So I think, from my initial understanding of it, it's walking towards that.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. First, when I saw the game, I was like explosively hyped. But then I saw, as you said, the big label surviving servers, and I mean, if it's gonna be like Age of Conan Exiles, where you basically or Ark, where you open up the server list and you have like 108 different Europe servers, and you're only gonna meet the people you play on that server, and you're gonna place a building, and it's only gonna be on that place and that server. Mm, then I might be a bit more skeptical. Since I've never been a fan of, like Valheim, where you basically have a dedicated server for where you have your castle, where you have your character. So if I decided to go on another server, I would have to start from scratch. That's I'm just not hoping it's gonna be that, but I have like a strong feeling it's gonna be like that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some potential there, but for sure we need to get more details, because I don't think we have like much to go for, to go with for now.
Hmm. And it's important to notice that I actually made a video about this game. I talked with the community manager of this game, and I promised her that I would make a video about the game because I was hyped about it. And then the community manager and her team actually saw my video, and they saw my big concern about servers. So she actually told me that the next post they're gonna do is probably going to be about servers, because they could understand, that the the thing with servers, people are very confused. Survival games, servers, MMO, what's gonna be. So that's pretty cool that I had an impact on the team, basically making them talk about servers. So probably for next episode we will know how the server structures is gonna be. And I can say the community manager they have is super cool and very responsive and likes to talk about different stuff. So I have faith in this team that is developing the game 100%.
That's very good. Definitely looking forward to it, because it does have potential. We just need more details about what the game is and what it has, etc., so we can actually build an idea in our heads of how it's going to behave.
Yeah, definitely. And if we end out in the game is going to be server based and so on, I guess we could still try it out. And the guild we have, Blue Bambis, we could make a server for that. I know a guy who can make servers. So I mean, we could definitely create a server for just our guild and have fun. But that would also make the game not. Yeah, I feel like it's not going to be a game you want to play in 1 year then, because you have your server, you play the server, and when you're finished with the server, then you're gonna pack it together.
It could be. It could be it could very well be just a game that needs to have the interaction between players to be able to survive properly, or like after you have like your sessions of, you just play through the game, you experience all it has to experience, and then after that you either need content updates, or you would need the interactions between players to keep the game alive for you
Yeah.
for that time being. But yeah, we'll see. There might be some nice surprising mechanics in there, because I do think that in their descriptions they did mention like something where you had to avoid light, or you would like die or burn or something like that, because, well,
Yeah,
you're a vampire.
that
So
is
there
true.
can be some potential interesting mechanics in there that could give some freshness to the game.
Yeah, so probably, and then when it becomes night and you can actually leave your castle, then you probably have to go out and drink some blood, stuff like that. So it's not going to be like a standard survival game where you have to poo and you have to eat some bears and all that berries and all that. This game is basically hide at day and go out and drink blood at night. It's going to be a big twist from other survival games. So that was all the topics for today. So for all the people who have been listening or listening right now, thank you so much for listening. And again, Illumio, it was great to have you on the show once again.
Thank you. I love being here. It's always a nice, relaxing chat about some nice games. And it's just a lot of new information that gets given to me.
Definitely. And also, if you're listening there and you feel this episode was worth your time and you had fun, it would mean a lot to us if you want to subscribe on the podcast wherever you listen, because it basically helps the algorithm of us get ranking up in the different podcast libraries. So if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, Google, click on the little subscribe button. It's totally free, and then it will help us 10,000 times. So thanks everyone for listening. Have a great evening. Have a great evening, Illumio.
Thank you. You yourself as well.
Thank
and
you.
And everyone listening.
Goodbye.
Cheers.